Buy now, pay later. It's an alluring phrase that has enticed millions of consumers, particularly among millennials and Gen Z. Platforms like Klarna, Afterpay, and Affirm promise convenience and affordability, presenting an appealing alternative to credit cards, but beneath their sleek interfaces and easy approvals lurks a financial trap that's silently eroding the financial stability of countless middle-class households. Buy now, pay later services have exploded in popularity over the past few years. Marketed as simple pay-in-4 payment plans, these lenders allow consumers to divide purchases into smaller, manageable installments, typically without interest if paid on time. According to a recent survey, around 30% of American consumers have used BNPL services at least once, with younger consumers more likely to use them, attracted by the ease, flexibility, and perceived absence of high interest rates that typically accompany credit cards. Now, the concept of BNPL is really the modernization of another program called layaway. This was a strategic retail practice that helped consumers with limited funds reserve merchandise and make incremental payments until the item was paid off. We'd often see this utilized particularly around holiday seasons. Unlike credit-based options and much like BNPL, layaway plans did not charge interest, and this made it especially attractive to more budget-conscious shoppers. The biggest difference between BNPL and layaway programs, though, you could not take possession of the item until it was paid off. Enter credit cards. They completely flipped this model. They allowed consumers to take it now and pay for it later. The problem with this, and one of the major differences between credit cards and BNPL, is that credit cards are highly regulated, so not everyone has access to a card by default. Immediate gratification and ease of access is one huge reason that BNPL is so attractive, but what seems like a harmless payment plan has deeper implications, especially for those who are already financially stressed. What makes BNPL so appealing? There are a few reasons, but one of the biggest is access and instant gratification. When compared to credit cards, applying for a BNPL loan is a shorter process, but typically with less protection than credit cards. Regardless, almost 70% of applicants between 18 and 24 years old qualify for BNPL loans who'd otherwise be declined for a credit card because of insufficient credit history or who may not qualify based on credit score. BNPL taps directly into the consumer psychology of wanting something right now. It allows people to enjoy products immediately without waiting until they've saved enough money. This is particularly appealing in a culture and society accustomed to immediate rewards and convenience. Perceived affordability. Since most customers are now able to qualify for BNPL loans, this allows purchasing power for groups of individuals who'd otherwise not be approved for traditional credit. It's offering consumers the flexibility of having short-term credit interest-free, assuming they repay the purchase amounts on schedule. And by breaking payments into these smaller installments, expensive items suddenly seem more affordable. A $200 jacket becomes 4 easy payments of $50, which feels far more achievable than the lump sum. This ability to spread out their cash flow is highly appealing to consumers, particularly in an economic environment that has growing inflation and higher levels of debt. Low upfront costs. With zero interest promotions and low upfront payments, consumers often underestimate the financial commitment they're making. This can lead to accumulating multiple BNPL commitments, each individually manageable but collectively overwhelming. We'll talk about this a little bit more later. Is it ever worth it? Before we go into the cons, let's talk about a couple pros because there are some. The truth is, in the right hands, BNPL services can be useful. 1. 0% financing. Possibly the biggest draw of using a BNPL service is the ability to buy an item on credit completely interest-free. And if you're using credit with knowledge, discipline, and control, it can be incredibly effective. 2. Split payments. Another major benefit is not having to pay with the total payment immediately. Having the ability to break up payments into smaller, more manageable amounts could mean easier cash flow and alignment with pay schedules. And 3. No credit check. Some of these services will offer financing with no credit check. Now, this is a double-edged sword. But when we look at it from a pro's perspective, the lack of credit history or someone rebuilding credit could receive financing from BNPL services where they wouldn't otherwise be eligible. Before we get to the cons, if you've made it this far, please consider liking, subscribing, and hitting that bell icon so you know when we drop new videos. So, what are the risks? Despite their attractive facade, BNPL platforms come with the potential for significant risks. The first and one of the biggest is the accumulation of debt. BNPL encourages incremental purchasing, leading to consumers taking on more debt than they can comfortably manage. Small payments quickly add up, resulting in multiple concurrent payment plans that may overwhelm monthly budgets. Additionally, surveys have shown that BNPL borrowers were more likely to hold higher balance on other credit accounts, particularly unsecured consumer debt like personal loans, student loans, and credit cards. Encouraging overspending. BNPL is so seemingly painless in nature because of the easy installment plans that it often leads consumers to spend more. Without feeling the immediate pinch of a purchase, it becomes easier to justify unnecessary expenses, leading to habitual overspending. In fact, new research from the Journal of Marketing has shown that BNPL increases consumer spending substantially, with purchases increasing from 17% to 26%. This overspending typically leads to what is known as a loan stacking. This involves borrowing multiple loans at once, and it's become an unfortunate side effect of frequent BNPL usage. Buy Now Pay Later generally only does a soft credit pull and a general check on bank account activity. This, coupled with only a requirement of paying 25% of the total cost of the purchase, makes it incredibly easy to overspend. And where does this overspending on multiple loans lead to? Late fees and penalties. While many BNPL providers advertise zero interest, late payments attract hefty fees. Reports suggest nearly 40% of BNPL users have missed at least one payment in the last year, accruing unexpected costs that significantly inflate the original price. What's worse is that defaults on any loans are reported to the credit bureaus. Your loans aren't reported to the credit bureaus, and your good repayment history isn't reported, but if you default on a loan, it will be reported and impact your credit score negatively. Unregulated lending practices. With BNPL's increasing popularity, concerns have been raised on the providers dodging the lending responsibility and restrictions that are currently placed on banks and credit card companies. Typically, to qualify for a BNPL, the provider does a soft credit pull, or it may not do one at all, allowing users to open as many loans as they'd like, regardless of if they're making their payments on any previous or current loans. And while this may feel freeing in the moment, it also means that consumers don't get strong protection and resolution rights against predatory lending practices. Changing consumer behavior. For years, BNPL programs were mainly used for big-ticket items like electronics, household appliances, and furniture. In early 2025, we started to see a shift in buying, with BNPL services teaming up with other retailers like DoorDash and Costco. Now, according to a recent LendingTree survey, 25% of Americans are using BNPL loans to pay for groceries. This is a concerning trend because it shows there are people who are struggling with everyday high costs and are looking for ways to make it easier to live. Because it is so easy to acquire the loan, more and more consumers are carrying, on average, 3 BNPL loans at a time. This can begin the cycle of overspending, potentially late payment fees, and the overwhelming feeling of never being able to get out of debt. If you're going to use services like Klarna, Affirm, or Afterpay, ensure you understand that Buy Now Pay Later is still debt. Prioritize these 3 things. 1. Limit how many loans you take out at a time and make a plan on how you'll pay off the debt and where the money is coming from. 2. Read the fine print. Things like interest-free purchasing sounds really appealing, but there are often hidden fees, so make sure you understand what you're getting into. And 3. Set up autopay and don't use your credit card if you have one. You don't want to try and dig yourself out of a hole by creating an even bigger one. Avoid paying any loans with even more credit. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you learned something new. If you did, please share it with a friend, and we'll see you in the next one.